Hey guys, this is John, your host on Mgtow is Freedom. It is 4th of July weekend. That's right, Independence Day here in the United States of America. And, that's an important day to us. It's a sacred holiday. It's a day where men finally had enough. And back then it was just men that had a say in anything. And those men finally had enough with that tyrant, the despot, King George of England. And so what did they do? Well, they put up with tons of shit. Years and years, maybe even decades, their whole lives, they had put up with an increasing, encroaching, ever-growing, ever-expanding, attitude from the king that he owned the people and that he had a right to take from them as he saw fit. Right? That was the attitude. Fuck him. And the men would send messages to the king. Hey, knock your shit off. Hey, how about giving us a fucking break? Right? All of the things that people complained about. Having their property taken. Men had their property taken. Right? If they didn't pay their fees, right? Their penalties, their taxes, the king would take their shit. And they had nothing that they could say about it, nothing they could do about it, because the king believed that he was all-powerful, almighty, right? And that he was the reason that men lived, and that without the king, right, the men would have no right to be, no right to exist. So the men of America, right, the colonial Americans, wrote the Declaration of Independence, right, and signed it and sent it to the fucking king. I would propose that on this weekend, that we as men once again look at a power that is in our lives, that has become tyrannical, out of control, ever growing, ever increasing, ever demanding. And that would be the gynocentric state. It is self-evident to men that the tyranny grows and that more and more of us are starting to form a rebellion, right? A resistance to it, right? It's not going to require the use of arms and meeting on the battlefield, right? But the tyranny is very real. That is, that men are having their property taken from them. Right? You could call it a tax if you want. But it's not getting smaller, it's getting larger. Right? As more women go to court and make the case that this guy took my money or this guy took a part of my life and he has to continue to pay for it. Right? Now, you can be accused of rape after the fact. A woman can have an injury or injure herself and blame a man. Right? That is tyrannical. Right? Any woman that would do that is a tyrant, and more women are willing to do that. Yesterday I saw that a fella had posted a short video. He was dumping his ex-girlfriend off at a fucking parking lot. And apparently she had threatened to hit herself and call the police, and I guess that was the fucking end of it for him, and he threw her out right there. He turned on his phone and started recording everything and got her to admit that she had said that, or that he had never touched her. But that was a way to hold her accountable, right? And then she got all soft and gushy about shit. That notwithstanding, right, women are tyrants when they can get away with it. King George, he got away with it, right? He had troops, he had guns, right? Women, they use police the same way in the courts as their muscle. They're a bunch of little tyrants running around, and we need to, as men, declare our independence from the gynocentric state. Mgtow is how you do that. It's how you do that. Men, if you go your own way, that is, leave the model where you need a woman's approval, right? A woman's acceptance. And for that matter, society's acceptance, right? Because society has adopted the gynocentric model, the tyrannical model. They've adopted it. And so everyone lives under it, whether they want to be abusive or not. Everyone lives in fear of it. The same way colonial Americans lived in fear of King George, fear of reprisal from his troops, fear of more taxation as punishment, fear of what other people thought, right? Would other colonists tell on them, snitch on them, right? To win favor with the king. Well, today, men and women, right? They fear retribution from society and from the rules, and so they will snitch on you as a Mgtow man, as a free man trying to be free. Right? They want you to be fearful because they're fearful, and they'll snitch on you. They'll turn you in, right? They'll try and use social pressure to get you to conform. You don't have to play by that. You don't have to give into it. This is where a declaration of independence as Mgtow is critical. You know, it doesn't have to be a public, a public, what would you call it, prognostication, a public display. You don't have to have a march. You don't have to hold a banner. You don't have to sign a paper or deliver it to anybody. All those things could be fun to organize, but you don't have to do that, because being Mgtow is personal. It's in your head and it's in your heart. It's personal. To decline, to deny, right? To declare within yourself that I don't have to put up with this shit anymore, and you can take yourself out of their system. Because that's what it is. It's a containment system. The gynocracy, the matriarchy, it's a containment system. And it starts with social pressure, and it ends up with personal pressure. And then you have to capitulate. You have to give in to them. And that's what their game is. And when you play their game, you're subject to its tyranny. Now, the stakes were a lot greater in the American Revolution of 1776. The stakes were greater. If you lose, you die. Today, you aren't allowed to die. Oh, fuck no. You're allowed to live so that you can pay. Right? Wars aren't fought today the way they were hundreds of years ago, where the king and the army would just slaughter everybody and kill everybody, man, woman, and child even. Now they want everyone left alive that they can. Right? You wonder how many people died in the last war over in Afghanistan. Well, too many, but still not like it would have been in the old days. They want people to live so they can work as slaves.